Yo, what's up guys, Grace here, back with some more No Man's Sky updates, and we are about to enter a brand new chapter of this game. Literally the most requested feature that fans have been asking for a very long time is right at our doorstep. No Man's Sky is coming to virtual reality this summer, so holy moly, that is some big news. Anyway, during the recent Game Developers Conference, aka GDC 2019, one of the main panels was No Man's Sky and Sean Murray going into an in-depth look over their experience developing and updating this game. There were talks about the hardships that the small studio went through, especially after the game's launch in 2016, but most importantly, yesterday they dropped a brand new 1-minute long trailer about No Man's Sky in virtual reality, and it looks every bit of glorious that you would have imagined from a game such as this. You can see the characters putting their hands on the controls on the ship itself, piloting the ship up in the sky, looking at the multi-tool, even driving from inside the cockpit of the exocraft and swimming underwater, and all of that all in VR. So all around, just amazing news. Of course, this will be just one part of the 3 of No Man's Sky Beyond update, which is scheduled to arrive this summer, and it's announced to be by far the biggest and the most ambitious update created by Hello Games for this game up until today. Anyway, let's go over the announcements, over the juicy details, because there's a lot of stuff you need to know, and everybody right now in the No Man's Sky community is losing their minds over this announcement. Nonetheless, No Man's Sky VR will be available for both the PlayStation and the Steam VR. If you're a PC user like me and already own the game on Steam, for example, then this is some excellent news, because now you just need a VR headset and continue to play the game as usual, but in virtual reality. Furthermore, this isn't just another port like how it usually happens with other games, but rather the real deal. So according to Sean Murray's Twitter post, as well as the announcement over the main website, it's completely unique to land on a wall that no one has ever seen before and to really feel as if you're there. The team has worked so hard to make this a true VR experience rather than a port. Grab the joystick and thruster to fly your starship over an unexplored alien planet as you peer out the cockpit at the view below. Reach into your backpack to grab your multi-tool, touch it to switch the terrain manipulation, and carve out intricate shapes with unprecedented control. Play in multiplayer and casually wave at your non-VR friends or fist bump your PS VR peers. So not only does the VR mode come to both PC and PS4, not only is it not just a port but actually a true experience, but you can also play within the same game with people using both VR and non-VR playthroughs. So if one of your friends has a VR headset and you only play on keyboard and mouse, you'll be able to play together, see each other, and your friend, since he obviously has a VR headset and much more control over his character, he's even going to be able to like wave at you, do gestures, and all other, VR specific stuff. So pretty awesome, pretty awesome. I'm glad that this is the case. It also means that we'll be able to continue to use our save games to play in VR just like before, but now this time around you have more control, you can see around you, you can see all of those cool animations, you can see your hands, move your fingers, put them on the controllers and lift your ship and all of that. So all around it just looks absolutely amazing. This was probably the most requested feature I have seen in this game, and trust me, there were a lot of very good requested features coming up in No Man's Sky. But moving on, No Man's Sky Virtual Reality is not a separate mode. Anything that is possible in next or any other update is ready and waiting in VR. So by the looks of it, it's also going to include everything up to date. I mean, it's obvious you'll be able to play with your friends, you'll be able to see each other, so obviously they'll have access to the same amount of content as you have. But yeah, let's move on. We also have some Steam VR section update. It's featuring No Man's Sky right now, No Man's Sky Beyond, and according to the latest news coming from Sean Murray, No Man's Sky Virtual Reality will bring the experience to PlayStation VR and Steam VR, and will be released simultaneously on both platforms. And of course, as you know, and as I've said, it's going to be coming up this summer. So really exciting stuff. By bringing full VR support for free to the millions of players already playing the game, No Man's Sky will become perhaps the most owned VR title when released. This amazes us and it's utterly humbling. The team is working so hard to live up to the expectations that creates. Pretty sure he meant to say something else over there, but whatever, we'll leave it at that. We're excited for the moment when millions of players will suddenly update and be able to set foot on their home planets and explore the intricate bases they have built in virtual reality for the first time. As well as online and virtual reality, No Man's Sky Beyond contains a third major feature set that we'll be talking more about when we can. This is an exciting time, time. Thank you so much for being with us on this most ambitious chapter of No Man's Sky. And there you have it, there's the announcement, all of it, and man, does it look amazing. This update looks simply amazing. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up to No Man's Sky. It's obviously going to be the biggest update yet. We don't know really yet what's the third one going to be, but we know the previous one was No Man's Sky Online, which brings major upgrades to the current multiplayer of this game. It's still not going to allegedly turn into an MMORPG, though that would have been amazing. These updates will continue to be all free, there's still not going to be any microtransactions, so all around some of the most amazing updates I've seen in the past year, and I'm so excited for this summer to see exactly what No Man's Sky Beyond is all about. So yeah, these 3 months or so are going to be pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, let's move on to something also interesting coming up from GDC, and as I've said, No Man's Sky had a panel over there with Sean Murray having a presentation for like half an hour where he talked more about, you know, the development of No Man's Sky, their experience as developers, as well as them dealing with the controversies from a few years back. One of the interesting topics he brought up was the fact that the metrics and feedback that they used, Hello Games has invested quite a little bit in gathering all of this data and making sense of it. One key thing that they have noticed, and that was already suspected and talked about in the past, was the relevancy of social media as well as news sites on the actual state of the game. While in 2016, you might remember this, many of the news sites were making doomsday reports of No Man's Sky. Websites like Reddit were all about the game being dead, bashing the developers, saying that Hello Games has run with the money, but the developers at Hello Games were noticing something completely different. First of all, they have noticed that people were spending a much more average time in the game compared to other similar games in the genre. Furthermore, the vocal and angry mob wasn't even made out of people who were actively playing the game, and instead were just, you know, people staying on the sidelines or people who had very little experience with the game at all. Nonetheless, his point was that the feedback that they would get from this vocal, loud minority that was really toxic didn't really amount to anything, and it was mostly just, you know, recycled arguments being brought up over and over again. His point was that the feedback they got from the vocal players with high amount of hours spent in the game was much more constructive and valuable than that of some toxic individuals. It basically boils down to the same old story that we see over and over again. Big game comes out, it's super hyped, a vocal minority gets pissed that something doesn't work the way they want it to, and the news picks it all up, exaggerates it, and it ends up being repeated over and over again on various websites, but it doesn't really reflect the actual reality. Meanwhile, the vast majority of the players and the ones that are fans continue to play the game uninterrupted for 15, 100, even up to 200 hours, and of course after that the natural decline in numbers comes up as the content dries up, and this happens up until another update cycle comes in and begins. It all happens over and over again with literally any game out there. This also doesn't mean that the game wasn't with faults, of course it was, but constructive feedback coming from active players was much more valuable than whatever other angry mob was spouting on the internet. This was also something that I noticed around that period. In the first week when No Man's Sky released, I was able to get like 60 or 80 hours of playtime out of it, and after that I tuned in on Reddit, tuned in on YouTube, and I was seeing all this backlash all around. Meanwhile, I was experiencing the game for 60 to 80 hours, so for me at least, I got my money worth out of, you know, the price of the game, and many other players did the same. But now 3 years later and a huge amount of free updates, that is even better. You now have all of these updates, the game has evolved way past what was initially, you know, advertised. So all in all, I'm super glad that the game is still getting updated. I'm very proud of the team over at Hello Games for not only turning things around, but also teaching other developers something in the process, and this was obvious by the fact that they have earned so many awards since then. So definitely a big change. But yeah, I don't want to drag this video for too long. If you guys want to check that talk, I'm gonna post some links down below, but you can also find them on the internet. It's pretty searched for right now, so there's definitely a lot of good points being brought into it. Now tell me if any of you guys are excited about No Man's Sky VR, and are you planning on getting a headset just for that? I am still debating because I honestly never felt the need of, you know, playing games in VR, but now this time around it's different, and I definitely feel tempted to purchase a headset. Not really sure which one to even buy, not really sure what there is on the market, but yeah, go ahead, post down below, and I'm going to try to read as many comments as possible. In the meantime, a thumbs up and a subscribe would be super appreciated, and I'll see you guys later, so peace out.